Hello again. I thought I would talk about something that I call the witching hour. Sometimes in addiction, for many people actually, there's a specific time of the day or specific cycle of behavior that triggers when we use, when we drink, whatever that may be. Most of the time for me, it was the evening hours that I like to call the witching hour. This was around midnight. And what I always found odd about my addiction was that I would be exhausted all day long from lack of sleep because of using the night before, and then all of a sudden something magical happens and the disease kicks in, and at around midnight I cannot for the life of me sleep at all. And I am fully energized, fully awake. And in the past, this is when I would usually use. What I learned was that there was something about the secrecy around the idea of nighttime, that I wouldn't be seen as much, that I wasn't as vulnerable with the blanket of darkness around me. Which is so odd because growing up I was terrified of the dark. I would often use and get high from that time of night, the witching hour, until 5, 6 a.m. and then try and grab maybe an hour or two of sleep, get up, take a quick shower, and throw on something and get to work. It didn't develop that way though from the very start. It didn't matter what time of day. It was as the addiction grew over the years and the disease became stronger and stronger that it turned into something I only like to do under the cover of night. And even though I have almost 3 years of sobriety now, I still have the same problem. It doesn't happen as frequently, but I can be exhausted from a full day of school and homework to the point where I'm literally shaking from exhaustion and need to go to bed and know that I need to go to bed. And bam, midnight, wide awake, can't sleep. And I try and combat that now. I've learned it just doesn't seem to be going away, at least not very fast. And while I have to deal with it, I know as a part of my maintaining my physical and mental health now, I know that a good night's sleep is extremely important, because if I don't get rest, I can become more susceptible to possibly using again in the disease, waking up and taking control and taking advantage of that weakness that I would feel from being too tired. It's so easy for the disease to find cracks in our life like that and make its presence known again. So what I try and do now, I mean, there's plenty of remedies, tea, herbal teas, chamomile, whatever. It never really worked for me. Instead, I have turned to melatonin gummies, which I love. Doesn't matter the brand, I guess, if you want to give it a try. Just try anything that works for you. I think the brand I use is Vitafusion, and I get it on Amazon for super cheap. And I try to remember to take the gummies at around 10:30ish, because honestly, within 15 to 20 minutes, my eyes get extremely heavy, and I'm feeling the exhaustion I'm supposed to feel from being active all day long. And I can go to sleep. And the melatonin does wonders, keeping me asleep and wake up feeling extremely rested. You just have to use what works for you and find what works for you if you happen to experience the same thing that I do, that witching hour moment. If it happens, if I get that urge or that focus shifts throughout the course of the day, like it used to in the early part of my disease, it's much easier for me to shift my focus. The problem with night is usually I'm alone. My husband, of course, is sleeping, but he knew of that witching hour. And his sleep was often restless because he was worried about what I might be doing up at night. So for the evenings, melatonin is what works for me. It's what I find has worked. During the day, like I said, it's easier to shift my focus onto something that needs to be done. Often, excuse me, during the day when I get those urges to use, or those spurts of energy where I recognize them and I know my limbic beast is going crazy because the disease is pushing it into wanting to use again. I'm typically at home. I'm a full-time student, so I'm often home doing homework, and when I'm alone doing that during the day, it's not a good setup. Again, it's those alone times where the mind just starts working against itself and telling you stories and making up these illusions in your head, and I have to battle those. And to battle it during the day, easy solution for me. I grab my laptop and my school books, and I go to a coffee shop and do my homework there. Just by being around others, it squashes all of that obsessive thinking, all of that rumination of past using, the obsessing, the fantasizing about it, and I can focus on what I need to get done during the day. So I hope you find something that helps you get the rest that you need to. I always need to be diligent about taking care of my body and my mind every day. Because it's part of managing my life and managing the disease. And by staying strong both in body and mind. It's just another layer of protection from ever going backwards. I hope this helps. I hope you continue searching for your own solutions and path to recovery. And as always, I'm thankful that I can share my experience, strength, and hope with you. Have a great night.